You know something? I've been talking for an hour to myself and I wasn't even live. That's hilarious. I actually went live at the top of the hour, exactly the way I said it was going to go. And yet I looked over here in the corner and it says, go live. And I'm thinking, I'm already, oh, no, I'm not live. My apologies if anyone dropped in and just watched this thing from the top of the hour with nothing there. It's entirely my fault. I talked and talked and talked for 15 minutes, and absolutely, I was just talking to the walls. No one was there. So, holy crap. Anyway, since I'm just now starting, apparently, with the live stream part of this, yeah, my name is Cassandra Williamson. I'm the Executive Director for Transgender Diverse Veterans of America Action Group, and for that one that is not the Action Group. We spend a lot of time over here in the Action Group side because, well, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world that requires us to be strong advocates to get out there and push and fight and make sure we're standing up for all of our people in all of our nations, in all of our states, all across the country, wherever you might be. So and this is really funny because now I got to go back and kind of see if I can rethink and redo what I said at the top of the hour. So yeah, we've got a lot going on this weekend. A lot has been going on this weekend around the world. The biggest every one of you know about is that Hamas, the terrorist group, Hamas, attacked Israel across multiple entry points, killing approximately 700 people at this point that we know of, and capturing and detaining hundreds of others, and threatening to kill if Israel doesn't stop hitting them back. Well, let me tell you something, and I'm going to say this very clearly. Hamas is a terrorist group. The Palestinian people are not. Palestine is not. Hamas has taken over that place and runs it. But they are a terrorist group. Their main goal, their only goal, one, they tell you that we'll have peace if we just get our land. But what land are you talking about? Oh, okay. Anyway, so that's not the case at all. It doesn't matter because their whole goal has been to eradicate Israelis and the Jewish people, whether civilian or not. As a matter of fact, we've heard that this whole weekend from, like, I don't know, the leader of Iran saying that really they're just rejoicing because Hamas has actually attacked and killed so many Israelis. You have got to be freaking kidding me. That's the most asinine thing I've ever heard there, Khomeini, whatever your name is over there now. Jeez. Anyway, so it's, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard in Iran, you've got ISIS and Al-Qaeda, you've got, Islamic Jihad there in Palestine as well. You got Hezbollah over there in Lebanon. And I mean, you've got all these terrorist groups all around, and they're not just there. They're everywhere else too. Every place has got some terrorist cells and groups and people who are just ignorant, okay? Literally ignorant. But anyway, so they're out there, and their goal is to remove Jewish people from the whole of the earth. Now, I've got nothing bad to say about Palestinian people or Israelis or people who in Iran, the people of Iraq, the people of Saudi Arabia, Qatar, any of these, Qatar, all of these nations down there, all these people around the world. I've got nothing against them, but their leaders are assholes. and that's the truth. But how do you deal with something like that? Well, here's the thing, though. See, this past weekend, we hear all the talking heads around D.C., Washington, D.C., and out of the halls of Congress, congresswomen and congressmen and senators, all saying we got to make sure Israel is fully equipped with all the munitions and weapons and stuff that they need to push back against this incursion on their territorial integrity. True, no problem. Understand that completely because territorial integrity is important. We're not mature enough to have open borders. We just aren't mature enough for that. I mean, you get some of us standing out on the corner, you're going to have two or three claiming part of the corner and then fight you over the other part. You're going to have two or three building a sandbox in the sand, building up the walls, and then getting pissed if somebody rains on their parade. I mean, that's kids, but it's also adults. And I mean, yeah, we're not mature enough to handle an open border situation around the whole planet. We just, I mean, as much as Pollyannish and idealistically that would be nice and good as a human being. Yeah. Well, we're not that mature, are we? We're just not that mature. So, I mean, it takes mature people to be able to handle something like that, and very few people are. I think there may be only 2 or 3 on the entire planet because everybody else wants to fight over the border. So here we are. We've got this sovereign nation, Israel, having to push back against this terrorist group, Hamas, to protect the territorial border between Israel and Palestine, because terrorist groups don't really care. They just want to kill people, and that's what they're doing. That's what they're trying to do. But they're getting their own people killed too, because Israel has to go back after the terrorist group, not the Palestinians, not the people in Palestine, but after the terrorist groups that have embedded themselves there and are trying to destroy Israel. I mean, what do you expect them to do? Sit back and just say no? No. And you got some people out here saying, well, it's the land. I mean, the Palestinians were there first. No. Only if you go and stop at a certain period of time. I bet you go back another period of time, well, another group had it. Go back another period of time and another group had it. You're back another period of time, and so forth and so on, all the way back through time. The land has shifted and changed so much between so many hands. Who knows who should have it, right? Actually, it's the people who are living there now. Plain, simple, very direct. That's the way it is. The people living there now. I mean, if another group gets the kahunas to go in there and actually try to take it all back, and they do take it back, well, I mean, we're going to try to protect the territorial integrity of the nation and not the darn terrorist groups. I think we've kind of proven that over the past 23 years, actually longer than that. But here's the hypocrisy. Here's the hypocrisy of that very statement about protecting, making sure Israel has got all. Now, make it clear. Israel does need to have all the help, munitions, weapons that we can provide to them to protect their borders, to kick out Hamas, and then to destroy Hamas so that they cannot pose a threat again. But as I said prior to that, this stuff is like, I don't know if I said it during this past 15 minutes or the first one when I wasn't live, but it's like we've got this blindness that occurs to us. We have so much hubris within us. We think that we have a solution for a 3,000-year-old sibling rivalry. You got families that all originated from Abraham, right? At least that's the stories. Here you got sibling rivalry taking place, and one hates the other so much they want to see them removed from earth, because I guess one thinks they have the ear of God more than the other has the ear of God, and whatever. Stop. Stop. That's hubris on our part to think that we can actually change the minds of kids like that. Really is. And that's what I think of Hamas. It's a dangerous kid with a big stick. But that's a terrorist group. Now, here's the other part of that. We have been going and supporting Israel. Fine. Great. But then Republicans in Congress, in the House, and some in the Senate have said, we've got to stop sending money and weapons and stuff over there to Ukraine. And I'm thinking, wait a minute now. You want to stop the money to help Ukraine defend its territorial integrity against a nuclear-powered nation, a nuclear-capable nation that has nuclear weapons that can wipe out the entire planet in no time flat. You want to take the money back or stop giving funds for that. But as soon as Israel jumps into it, has to jump into something, which we do support, and I support as well. They have to defend their territorial integrity. Just as soon as Israel starts something and ends up in something bad, we all go, jump in and help them. But when Ukraine, you want to pull the money back. Now, that's hypocrisy on a large scale. That's a hypocrisy on a large scale. It really is. Really is. And I'm speaking directly to, who is that? Lauren Boebert and the other one down in Georgia, Green. You two have got to calm down and shut up because I'm going to tell you something. You're acting like a bunch of little kids. A bunch of kids in kindergarten, no less. And that's what you're acting like. And then you got this person that eggs you all on called Trump, who is nothing more than a schoolyard bully. Period. Flat out, just a bully. That's all he is. He's a bully. And it turns out he doesn't really have all the money he thought he had, or you thought that he had, because I think he knew he didn't have it. Y'all just, well, anyway, you saw the flashy gold stuff and said, that's got to be the right way. It's got to be the right way. No. No. Once a con man, always a con man. And I'm speaking from my action group's hat side, the political action committee kind of thing. That's where this is coming from. And I do want to make it clear, this next section that I'm getting ready into, I did notice earlier today that there were some people who maybe were under 18 watching on LinkedIn. Possibility, get out of this channel now. Flat out. This is no place for you. So, next thing we want to talk about is all this is blending together, hypocrisy of stuff, hypocrisy of reason, hypocrisy of ideologies taking over your whole concept of personhood. Well, let me share the letter I sent out this morning, and maybe then you can see some of the things that I've been thinking about all day long. Oh my gosh, yes. Let me present from my page. Let's go to share the screen, to Windows, and this. No, not that one. This. Da-da-da-da. Here we go. That one. Yeah, there we go. So this was the letter I sent out this morning. I think it's sent around 9:10 Central Time, somewhere around there this morning. You should got a very top line. Senator Tuberville and your staff, if you're watching any of this, you dropped in to catch a little bit of it, of what I'm talking about. Lift the hold on our military's general and flag officer appointments. I've got a lot of friends here in Alabama. I live in Alabama. I'm down here in Northport, just across the river from Tuscaloosa. And you would be surprised at how many people actually say, you know, I know some people who are retired senior officers from the military who live here in Alabama, retired general and flag officers, who don't want to publicly come out and say something just yet because, well, you know, this is Alabama after all. So, but they don't want to come out and say something about it. But they are appalled at this hold that has been going on for so long with Tuberville. Senator Tuberville, you've got to lift this. Now is the time. I know I saw an article this morning that you put out there where you're saying it doesn't matter what Hamas has done to Israel, that you're not going to lift the hold. Senator Tuberville, let me just read what I think about that. Right here, top second paragraph, or second line, really. Rom's on fire. And there's Tuberville fiddling Sweet Home Alabama from your Florida estate and not understanding in the least bit the consequences of what you're doing and the impact it will have on this nation, that you're playing into the hands of Russia and China and other terrorists around the world, Hamas, Hezbollah, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, all of these things, all these extremists, including extremists in our own country, by the way, you're playing into their hand. How much money are they giving you for that? Maybe you should just wear a patch like NASCAR drivers, you know, and say, I got this money over here from the anti-abortion group. And I got all this money over here for the, you know, supporting Russia group. And on the back and a big blazon in the middle, you got, I supported Hamas as well. I know you don't, Senator. I know you don't. But I'm going to tell you this. It sure as hell feels like it. Lift the hold. Okay. All right. So the next part is we're talking about, I already talked about this one pretty clearly, I do think. Hamas, Israel, and Ukraine. Talked about that, gone over it, mentioned it several times. Same things that I just talked about are all over here in this, including the hypocrisy of the U.S. House and U.S. Senate for demanding that money be stopped going to Israel, stop going to Ukraine, who's actually fighting against a national terror, a national group, a nation, I should say. That's what I'm looking for, the word. A nation who wants to intrude upon their territorial sovereignty. But you want to give money over here to Israel, and I'm for that. Just to be clear, that's hypocrisy, y'all. Come on. Jeez. Stop already. Be rational in your thinking. Try to critically analyze things before you open your darn mouth. Because when you say one thing out of one side and the other out of the other, guess what it does to the American public? We go, ding, oh, these people are crazy up here. They think we're stupid. Make it clear, we're not. We are not. We see you. I only hope we see you well enough to not let you back in our government again, ever, period. There's one particular person who was a president recently. Let me see. Now, this is my personal opinion. He should have never been elected, period, and never deserves even the role of a dog catcher. Because, I mean, we knew back in the 80s who this person was. He hasn't changed one damn bit. But yet here he is. Got half the country over there riled up in support of him to be president again. And I find that just, I mean, that's like, I don't know what that is. That's just, I can't even put a label on that one. It's hard to define how that is or why that is, except that I did hear somebody, either this morning or yesterday, somebody was talking about that. They were asked, a reporter asked them about why Trump? I mean, all this baggage that he's got. And the response was, he was appointed by God. We'll trust it. It's in God's hands. He's appointed by God. Bullshit. He was elected by a bunch of people who decided that they wanted something different. And you have every right to want something different. I served for your right to want something different. However, some things are destructive. And what we see coming out of that is still a calm man then, a calm man now. Anyway, enough said. All right. So now here's one I wanted to point out to you also. Now, this is extremely funny because all this time I've been calling some of these people fascist or theocratic fascist, and others have mentioned the terms to me as well. And then I go over on the page, on Matt Walsh's page. Y'all know Matt Walsh, right? Y'all know Matt Walsh? Know of him, at least. Well, he has a Twitter page and a profile on that page, and this is what it says on that page. And Matt is one of those ultra-conservative people who is a Christian nationalist kind of thinker, or at least theocratic nationalist, but nationalist so much that it's fascism. He actually has the guts to tell people who he really is, because he's become self-aware apparently. So he calls himself on his profile on Twitter a theocratic fascist, as you can see on the screen. Theocratic fascist. Da-da-da-da. Got it? You can go actually check out the Twitter feed, at Matt Walsh blog on Twitter, X, formerly known as Twitter. Theocratic fascists, best-selling children's author, Dancing with the Stars contestant, Matt Walsh. Yep. Here's the biggest part of it. And I give a big shout out to Matt, by the way, for his personal self-discovery and honesty with himself. The others, like, I'm going to just read this line. The others were like the Heritage Foundation and Heritage Action and Kevin Roberts and Christopher Rufo and Charlie Kirk and Servino. What's his first name? Roger Servino. Ryan Anderson, Seb Gorka, Stephen Miller. All these people are theocratic fascists, but they don't have Matt's kahunas to be able to tell you what they actually are. So, way to go, Matt. Congratulations for your honesty. And this leads right in with all those people up at the top up there, the Heritage Foundation, Heritage Action Group, and Christopher Rufo, and different ones like that. Well, here's Christopher. So I'm going to just go back over and see if I can pull up what Christopher actually wrote. and show you. Let me stop sharing this screen because I want you to see this. You can go check it out yourself. Check it out yourself. Don't rely just on what I'm telling you. Go look at this stuff yourself, and you tell me what you think. That's the best part about this, right? So let me go down here and share a different screen again. I got to find the right one. Where are we? No, not that one. This one. And then, okay, that's the one we're at. All right. Who's watching? Oh, we got 2 or 3 people watching. All right, so I'm going to go present another page again. And this one, you're going to laugh your tail off about it, okay? It's just, I just think this is so freaking funny. Ta-da! Christopher Rufo. This was actually taken, it's part of a talk that was delivered on September 12th, but he's been calling us the transgender empire now since at least, as you know, I looked into it back in June, he was calling us the transgender empire. And I think that's really just hilarious. And he's playing with these words that actually come from Isaac Asimov's Foundation series. And if he's not, well, he missed a really good opportunity. But he's calling us the transgender empire. And I mean, you can go down through here and just check it out yourself. Go read it. You can go find it. Look up Inside the Transgender Empire by Christopher Rufo. You'll find it. You'll get the document. This actually is Imprimis. It's actually a publication of Hillsdale College, of which Rufo teaches history or something there. Oh my God, forgive them all, right? Anyway, so this is the transgender empire. And you go read it yourself. I'm not going to read this darn thing for you. But I mean, this is ignorance on a grand scale. However, I will go ahead and just take what we see here and use it. And that's what I did in the letter I sent out this morning, okay? If you read that letter, if you're on our mailing list, you'll get that letter. So let me go back over and share the screen with you again. This time I'm going to look for, back to the letter again. Give me a second. Give me 1 minute. Share. Oh, that's what I'm doing. Share, present, share screen. We're going to go look at this letter again. We're going there. This is the letter sent out this morning around 9 or 10 or so, somewhere depending Eastern or Central time. So anyway, yeah. So we're going to take this and run with it. Okay, here we go. If any of you are familiar with Isaac Asimov's Foundation series, you know that somewhere in there, the empire has been around at least 10,000 years, and over time it gets larger and more, many more years pass and all that kind of stuff. But it's been around for a long, long time. And then Foundation comes along, Harry Seldon's Foundation comes along and predicts the end of the empire, or at least the transformation of the empire, the transition of the empire into something else. So here's what I had to say about it. I'm going to read this because I think this is good. If I miss the point, you tell me. All right. So here's what I said. We had not planned to celebrate the 10,000 years of our lives, our existence, our empire so openly. But here we are. You found us out, Chris. If you're watching, I hope you are. I really hope you are. We were trying to stay hidden. Our empire stretches from the ancient courts of the Assyrians to the Polynesians and Indonesian islands, to the Peloponnesian city-states, the Australian outback, my cursor goes up and down, and the South American jungles, to Africa, to Hebrew and Arab cultures across all of Asia and every culture throughout time, and all of the Abrahamic faiths then and now. Our transgender empire was there at the founding of the USA. Yeah, some of us were around. We were followers of Jefferson and Hamilton and Washington and Madison. And let me see what else, where I jumped off the list here. Oh, we were there during the U.S. Civil War, the Napoleonic Wars, World War I, and in Germany being rounded up by the Nazis in World War II. Today, we ideologically identify. Now, I put ideologically in there just for Heritage Foundation because they seem to think we're an ideology, but Rufo thinks we're an empire, which is not the same as an ideology. But anyway, so Today, we ideologically identify as Republicans and Democrats, conservatives, liberals, Whigs, Tories, Labor, in every ideology out there. But as a people, we are the transgender empire. We've existed, thrived through all of it. We are Americans, veterans, British, French, Russian, even Arab and Israeli, Qatari, Chinese, and Japanese. We, like you, simply are. All the rest is a label. We were part of all of those things, just like you. We are people. Just as it would be wrong for us to call you an ideology, the person who is you, the American you, is not an ideology. Are you a Rufoism or a Robertsism or a Heritageism? We are not an ideology either, but we are empire and foundation. We will be here long after all ideologies are long gone and changed into something else. Long after nations have come and gone, we will still be here, part of all that was yesterday, today, and what shall come tomorrow. Ideologies fade with the wind. We do not. Finally, we will take down Project 2025 and not let you destroy America and remake it in your image, a theocratic fascist image. But regardless of the outcome, we win. We live. We thrive. Why? Because Project 2025, like the Nazis who came before you and are among you, is ideologically driven. We are not. We simply are. And we are you. Yes, you are you too. And we're all Americans in pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness. To empire. I thought that was cool. Oh my God, I can go on and on and on about that. If you have not read Project 2025, let me stop sharing for just a second. If you have not read Project 2025, you need to go find it. Just do a search for it. You can actually go to project2025.org and download the PDF version of it. Don't buy their darn book. They got $265 million, Heritage does anyway, left over from last year. $265 million to put towards fighting us. What do we have? I don't know, maybe 10 cents between us. We are the David to their Goliath. There is no doubt about that. And let me go back to where I can see you. All right, that's not where I can see you. There we go. Okay, so anyway, I've been talking for some time now about what Heritage Foundation and all the other organizations that work together with them to come up with this consensus document called Project 2025, a mandate for leadership. Now, if you think that this is something new, that they just suddenly came up with this kind of thing, don't be deceived. They tried this. They tried about every 4 years or so to come up with some kind of mandate for leadership. But the first time they tried this was in the late 70s, like 78, 79. Reagan was running for president. He actually won the presidency, as you know, obviously. But they had written their little manifesto, and Reagan was already on board with them. I mean, they've been powerful enough and well-financed enough to be able to have a lot of people attracted to them, including big-name politicians. And so they handed President Reagan, as soon as President Reagan said, "So help me God," on the January the 20th of when was that? 1981, 80, something like that. Anyway, so as soon as that happened, they handed this thing to the president, and he took it and accomplished 60% of it within 100 days, in the first 100 days. That was 1980. But they consider that a failure. Heritage and Kevin Roberts, the president of Heritage, and the different organizations that are now working together to make that happen, they consider that a failure, even though they were able to get 60% of what they wanted accomplished back then under Reagan's presidency. It's still considered a failure because they wanted 100% of it. So they learned. And every few years, every 4 years or so, they come up with another one. Well, this time around, though, they have poured their money into what they want to do. About 70 organizations all came together and created Project 2025. They started this back in April of 2022. They rolled out the book just a month or so ago, this year, 2023. They began asking people to join them over the summer. They'd go out to fairs like in Iowa or different places. Wherever there was a fair, they would set up a booth. They'd start asking people, hey, come on, we need you to be a part of this organization. If you're a conservative, we want you to be a part of this. We want to train you so you can be ready to walk in if a conservative wins the presidency and takes over the presidency in 2025, January 20th, 2025 at noon. And that person is a conservative and he's up there, or they are up there saying, so help me God, then they're going to have trained people ready to go in and accomplish all the goals that's listed in this 920-page tome. All you got to do is you can see who they are and what they want to do and how they want to go about doing it, all in the first 17 pages. Down through the forward, before you even make it into chapter 1, they tell you who they are, what they want to do, and why they want to do it, and how they're going to go about doing it. They've set up a presidential training academy. The part of that will be for novices who are just stepping into government. If there's more experienced people, they'll have some other training for them too and all this. But they're serious about changing the form of our government to match their theocratic fascism view of how that should be. Don't believe it? Go check the document out. It's there. It's there. It's there for you to see. Just go to Google a thing. You'll find it. It's out there. And people are telling me this, and I want to be very clear about this too. I'm hearing from several people who are saying, we don't want to put so much spotlight on this thing. We don't want to bring too much attention to it. We don't want to promote it for them. Well, let me tell you, if we sit back and do nothing, guess what we will get? We will get exactly what's in that forward. First couple of paragraphs written by Dr. Kevin Roberts, PhD in history, early American history. Yeah, he tells you plainly what they want to do. I've been told he's a good person. I'm sure he is, no doubt. Sure he is a good American, very thoughtful American person. But he's wrong on this one, and we got to stop this because we are not a theocratic fascist nation, are we? We don't want that. None of us do, period. We didn't serve our nation for that, but we did serve for your right to think whatever you want to think and believe what you want to believe and be who you need to be or want to be. We serve for that. But here, these people are from Heritage and the Project 2025. They don't think we have a right to decide for ourselves how our own lives should go forward. Somehow along the way, over the past several years, maybe a decade or so, they've moved from personal liberty and freedom to we're going to tell you what we think you should be doing. That's a long way from what it used to be, right? That's no longer Republican or conservative. That is way over in that ditch. And that's where they are. And they want to take us with them. They want to take the whole nation with them. They don't think I have a right to be me. As a matter of fact, in those first few paragraphs at the very beginning of the foreword that Dr. Roberts wrote, here, let me just pull it up. Hold on a second. I'll just pull this thing up here. Da-da-da-da. Give me 1 minute to find it. I've got it right here somewhere in my little tabs of buttons all around, background. Where are we? Is that downloads? Yeah. Okay. Just bear with me as I kind of hum my tunes along. Application, Universal Veterans. Okay, going on down. Oh, it's on desktop. No wonder. Jeez. Okay, now I can find it. I was looking in the wrong folder. Project 2025. Where are you? Somebody go in my computer and take it all out. There it is. I found it. Give me a second to bring it up here. Here we go. And then I'm going to go here and increase the size. Whoops, that's the wrong direction. And let me get rid of that. Increase the size a little more. Go back over here and share a screen. We're going to talk about this just briefly. I know in our daytime program, I've been doing this for the past 3 weeks. This week, I'm just now starting this 6 p.m. Eastern time slot. So I'm going to do noon and 6 p.m. Eastern weekdays, kind of a news show, as much as I can do. Some days I may not be here. I have to get other people to step in and whatnot. But anyway, that's fine. I just want you to know what's going on. Okay, so here we go. Project 2025. go back to where you are. Let's go share screen. We're going to look at Project 2025. I'm just going to read directly from it. I'm not going to go in here and put my spin on it. I'm going to let them speak for themselves. You ready? Here we go. 14 characteristics. Nope, not that one. Mandate for leadership. There it is. Okay, now I'm sharing the screen. And this is, by the way, Project 2025, a presidential transition project published this year, 2023, by the Heritage Foundation, Washington, D.C. There's their website and their phone number. And they also have a Heritage Action Group, which does their advocacy and activism kind of stuff. Kevin Roberts is over both, like I'm the executive director for both of our sides too. So let's scroll on down. I'm going to go pretty quickly through the Roman numeral labeled pages. You got the foreword by Dr. Roberts, edited by Paul Dans, who's an attorney, and Stephen Groves. I'm not sure what Mr. Groves does. Let me just be really clear too, by the way. I want to make it clear. These people are Americans. They deserve our respect for the fact that they are an American, that they are Americans. We're not denying them that. We're denying them the right to impose their views upon the whole of this nation when half of us don't agree with them. So let me scroll on down. I'm just going to scroll through a lot of this really quickly. Hold on. Just don't get dizzy. Hang out. Acknowledgements. I'm not going to go into all that either. Oh, here. This is really funny too. This is the advisory board for Project 2025. There's like 70 of these organizations, advisory boards. And they're the ones who put in input into the formation of this document, the Project 2025. So they're the ones who put it all together. And I'm going to get a little wonky on it right here, but they use the process that's, it's called the Delphi method, okay? And it's what the RAND Corporation had developed back in the 50s to assess new technologies and issues around the world, to use this iterative process coming to consensus document or agreement or whatever. But all these organizations, we know a lot of these. Alliance Defending Freedom, Alabama Policy Institute, I know of them here in Alabama. American Conservative, American First Legal, that's Stephen Miller, who's former senior advisor for President Trump. American Accountability, I mean, you go on down through here. It's just all over. Everything is in here. First Liberty, Family Research Council. Oh, geez. Yeah, we knew they'd be in there. Ethics. Oh, here's one. Ethics and Public Policy Center. If you don't know who that is, a few years ago, Ryan Anderson used to be a senior leader within Heritage Foundation. Ryan Anderson is the PhD psychologist, I believe, who had been attacking transgender people left and right, wrote books about it, all this kind of stuff. Well, Ryan moved over to Ethics and Public Policy Center and became their president. I don't know if he's still there, but he was at one time. Likely he's still there. And Hillsdale College. I mean, you got all of these different groups that are out there to erase from the face of the earth, like Hamas wants to erase Israel. Same kind of crap. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, so a note. We're just going to skip through the note part. You can read that at your own leisure. That's on page, what is that, 13? Go to page 13, Roman numeral page 13. You can read all of this, go all the way down. And here are the pillars. I just wanted to show you this. All right. They talk about the 1980 thing. And then they go up here and say, in 2023, the game has changed. The long march of cultural Marxism through our institutions has come to pass. And no. The federal government is a behemoth, weaponized against American citizens and conservative values, with freedom and liberty under siege as never before. The task at hand, to reverse this tide and restore our republic to its original moorings, is too great for any one conservative policy shop to spearhead. It requires the collective action of our movement. And you're saying that there's a transgender movement. Oh, wait a minute. You've got 265 million plus 22 million set aside in these to attack us. Okay, yeah, right. Okay, gotcha. With the quickening approach of January 2025, we have 2 years and one chance to get it right. Oh my God! At the time, they only had 50 in here, but there were 70 people actually worked together to make this this document? Okay. So here it is. This book is functionally an invitation for you, the reader, Mr. Smith, Mrs. Smith, and Miss Smith. Need I go there? No, I'll just skip right over it. To come to Washington and support those who can. Our goal is to assemble an army. And I thought we were the transgender army, but now we're the transgender empire. Anyway, so an army of aligned, vetted, trained, and prepared conservatives to go to work on day one to deconstruct the administrative state. And it's built on these 4 pillars. Pillar 1. You can read that one. Pillar 2. Yeah, pillar 1 is let's see, one place puts in one place a consensus view of how major federal agencies must be governed, and where disagreements exist, brackets out those differences for the next president to choose a path. Okay, pillar 2, personnel database. That's what this part is all about, training, getting people together, trying to get 20,000 people ready by January the 20th of 2025 if a conservative wins the presidency. Okay, pillar number 3, the Presidential Administration Academy, an online educational system taught by experts, and you just put in there Hillsdale College, as well as any of these other organizations out there that are we already know are extremes. That's what it is. For the experienced, we'll host in-person seminars with advanced training and set the bar for what to expect of senior leadership. Okay, pillar 4, the playbook. We're forming agency teams and drafting transition plans to move out upon the president's utterance of "So help me God." Okay, there's laid out for you. Mr. Paul Dans wrote that. That's the project director. And let me go down now. That's the authors. I'm going to skip through the authors. There's a bunch of those I'm looking for. The forward, that's the contributors. Okay, and then there's a bunch of those. All those other organizations before, they're all down here. Let's go on down. Now there's a bunch of these people. It makes you wonder where our team of people's at. They keep saying we've got this project that we've been forcing on America for the past 50 years. We work from a plan. Jeez. No, we don't. But anyway, here we go. Let's go on down. Jeez, can we ever get to the bottom? Who was that? No. Okay. And now here's the forward. A Promise to America by Dr. Kevin Roberts. All right. First paragraph. 44 years ago, the United States and conservative movement were in dire straits. And I think this is really hilarious what they go down through here and say in just a second. Let's see. Both were internally splintered, talking about the Republican Party and the conservative movement and stuff like that. Conservative movement as opposed to the Republican Party. There's a difference. By the late 70s, were by any measure a historic low point for America and a political coalition dedicated to preserving its unique legacy of human flourishing and freedom. I lived through the 70s. I don't recall them being a low point for America. Do you? Okay. Today, America and the conservative movement are enduring an era of division and danger akin to the late 1970s. Oh my God. I'm just stunned by this. But here it is. This is this paragraph right here. Okay. So now, as then, our political class has been discredited by wholesale dishonesty and corruption. And I guess it's what you're neglecting is Nixon or any others down the line who have been bought and paid for. Okay, well, whatever. All right, so look at America under the ruling and cultural elite today. I mean, I don't know if you feel like you're rolling anything. I mean, we are the transgender empire after all. But anyway, do you really feel like we're rolling anything and that we're the cultural elite? It says inflation is ravaging the family budgets. Drug overdose deaths continue to escalate. Those are true. But then, comma, and children suffer under thee. Let me just go right here so I can highlight this one. And let me put a little highlight mark in there. We're going to highlight it with a bright red. Okay. And children suffer the toxic normalization of transgenderism, which we're not an ideology. Screw that. With drag queens and pornography invading their school libraries. This is just a load of crap, okay? Just a load of crap. I agree that inflation is ravaging the family budget. I agree that drug overdose deaths continue to escalate. That's fine. I get that. All right. Moreover, I'm going to just skip down through this about the Cold War and the communists in Beijing and stuff like that. We know that that's a real threat as well. While globalist elites in Washington awaken only slowly to the growing threat. No, we know of the growing threat. We are well aware of it. Okay. It seems that conservatives aren't, though. They just want to do whatever. But I think this part is funny, too. Moreover, low-income families are drowning in addiction and government dependence. Now, I'm going to stop right there for a second. And this is where they're trying to change the narrative or get you to think that this only applies to this low-income families are the only ones drowning in addiction and government dependence. That's not true. It's not true. It impacts every community in this nation. Those things, addiction, and even the government dependence part, every community in the nation is impacted by those things. Contemporary elites have even repurposed the worst ingredients of the 70s radical chic. I don't know about you, but I don't remember the 70s being a radical chic. Club 54? No. Oh my God. To build the totalitarian cult today known as the Great Awakening. It's only known in your head, Dr. Roberts, as the Great Awakening. The rest of us know that that's just total B-shit. B-shit, B-shit, B-shit. And now, as then, the Republican Party seems to have little understanding about what to do. Oh my gosh. Let's go on down. Go on down. Oh, well, let's go on down just a little bit more. And a mandate for leadership. The first one, 1981. That's okay, January 1981. There we go. That's the actual date. Bad news. And let's skip on down to conservative promise. And I'm getting ready to close out here because tomorrow I'll be talking about more of the same stuff. Conservative promise. In this volume, the conservative promise is the opening salvo of the 2025 presidential transition project launched by the Heritage Foundation and our many partners in April 2022. Its 30 chapters lay out hundreds of clear and concrete policy recommendations for White House offices, cabinet departments, Congress, and agencies, commissions, and boards. Skip on down a little bit. On down. This is really hilarious, too. The Heritage Foundation is once again facilitating this work, fine. But as our dozens of partners and hundreds of authors will attest, this book is the work of the entire conservative movement. These are their goals. They have four broad fronts that they want to go after us on. The first one is to restore the family as the centerpiece of American life and protect our children. And the only question we got is, how do you define family? Because obviously family is more than just a man and a woman. But that's where the crux of that statement actually is. It sounds really good, but they actually have a definition of what family is and our children is. They have definitions for those things. They want to dismantle the administrative state and return self-governance to the American people. Okay. Defend our nation's sovereignty, borders, and bounty against global threats. Fine. Secure our God-given individual rights to live freely. What our Constitution calls the blessings of liberty. But in the meantime, you're trying to strip away the blessings of liberty for transgender people and any minority, really. Any minority in this nation. We'll get more into that tomorrow. They talk about erasing and deleting and excising everything that identifies all the minorities in the nation. If you haven't been keeping up to date about all this stuff, go read Project 2025. Go check it out. Download the document itself. Don't go buy the book. They don't need any more money. They offer an option to download the PDF free of charge on their site. Take them up on it. Go check for yourself. Go check it out. So rather than going any further with this, I've talked for probably about, I don't know, 50 minutes or so, really, from your perspective. For mine, it's been an hour and 5 minutes. So anyway, tell your friends, come back tomorrow. This is broadcast live across Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and on our websites. Go check it out. Go be a part of it. You can come and listen in, comment, whatever you want to do. With that, I hope you have a great evening, and I hope your day has been a really good one, whether you celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day or whether the only one that you can possibly ever see yourself acknowledging is Columbus Day, even though we know who Columbus really was, right? We all know that now, maybe. But anyway, so, I mean, if you're adamantly opposed to doing one or the other, well, I hope you've had a good day, at the very least. So with that, let me play a little bit of music, and we're going to close it down for the day. Give me a minute to get back to the music over here. What do you want to hear? Some lo-fi hip-hop beats? How about the rock is here? Okay. All right, with that, I'm going to call it a day. Come back tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Time or at noon tomorrow Eastern Time. We'll continue this conversation and see what else we can talk about, okay? So right now, I'm going to end the stream.